Hi everyone, this is Denise. I am going to share with you um, just how to write your discussion board in order to get as many points as possible. I find that in the undergraduate courses, people tend to have the most trouble with this. So I'm going to go through the rubric and then I'm going to go through one of my posts, and I hope this will help you guys do well in posting. Okay, so first things first is the rubric. I don't know if you saw what I just did. Let me go back. Oops, sorry. All right, so I'm clicking on discussion 2, and I am going to bring down the slide. And as you can see, I'm trying to get my little pointer. Right here, it says undergrad discussion question rubric. So I'm going to open that, and I'm going to break it down, show you here what each spot means. So content of initial thread or post. Okay, so content includes additional or novel points beyond the intent of the prompt, which means if you just answer the questions, you will not get these 8 points, okay? You have to take it a little further. So if we're asking about how does using charting decrease med errors, you don't write, you definitely answer the question, like there's systems failure behind, you can clarify handwriting, you have to scan medications, but take it to the next level. Maybe something new or something additional to that. So it gets rid of error for fatigue. It expedites time because you don't have to do the 3 checks anymore. It expedites that so you can spend more time doing something else. Look in the research to find something different. Okay. The next piece is references are sufficient, scholarly in nature, and are formatted correctly in APA. So in order to get 8 points, you have to have more than 1, meaning 2 scholarly references. I will post a link that tells you the difference between scholarly and non-scholarly. I'm going to tell you websites are not scholarly. I don't care if they're a government website. It needs to be journal articles. And they have to be formatted correctly in APA. Again, most people do this incorrectly, and this is where you're going to lose a ton of points. You must learn how to format your APA writing, your references, and your insight citations. Use the book. I do not want to see incorrect in-text citations. A lot of people still utilize MLA. It's hugely different. Get the book, open up Purdue. Please utilize this correctly. You will lose points on this, okay? So that's how you get for initial thread, that's how you get the 8 points. I'm going to show you in my thread that I wrote. So value-based care. Okay, so really quick, the question is, many of you voiced concerns on rising costs of healthcare. How does meaningful use and quality metrics within the EHR relate to healthcare cost containment? How have you seen meaningful use and quality metrics used in your setting? Okay, so if you look at my thread, I talk about the healthcare payment system, what it means to be moving from volume-based or from volume-based to value-based. And I explain that a little further. I talk about how we're not focusing on reimbursement based on value, but based on based on volume, but based on value, so meaning outcomes, and what that's going to mean. It's going to mean that there's going to have to be a shift in the way that people take care of their patients. They're no longer going to just be slogging them in. They also have to hit metrics. So it's going to take strong leaders. How can we utilize these leaders? And I go on to discuss that further in my paper, which I encourage you to read. Additionally, look at how many references I'm using and look at how well they are referenced using APA. Okay, look at that. Make sure you follow this because you will lose points. Okay, so the next piece on the rubric, critical thinking. So to get the full 2 points, response is rich in critical thinking, full of thought, insight, and analysis. Argument is clear and concise. So you're talking about something, you're making points. You need to support your argument points with research. So don't say, it is well known that EMR improves quality. Okay, well, how is that well known? Why is it well known? How is it improved quality? I want you to look through the research and use support for it. And don't just use research to just put one sentence. Take it a little further. So if you're going to say, you know, Joe Schmo says that the EMR improves quality. Okay, great. I'm glad Joe Schmo said that, but why does he say that? What else is in his research that analyzes that? Okay, because of the improved clinical decision-making model that's implemented in EMRs. You need to take it further, and it needs to be clear and concise, okay? The other piece on that is if you're going to use direct quotes, use them properly, which they talk about in the APA book and in the OWL Purdue. Do not just drop random quotes. Don't use them in their own sentence. They're usually integrated in a sentence to strengthen your thought, okay? All right, this is a piece where everyone loses points. So if you are not a good writer, you need to use the writing center, because I do take off points, especially if it takes me 6 or 7 times to read a sentence because I don't understand it. Quality of written communication in an initial post. So style and voice have to be appropriate. What does that mean? Professional. Don't use slang terms. Don't use contractions. Open up your APA book. It talks about it. You want to use originality in your work. Your word choice needs to be specific and purposeful. Read your writing out loud to yourself, okay? Because a lot of people try to be really scholarly and they just jumble up words. Obviously, you want to sound scholarly, but you don't want to sound over superfluous. The other piece, too, is mechanical and typographical errors. I would definitely turn things into the right center because I will not edit your papers. So if I tell you have errors, I'm just going to put that. I'm not going to edit for periods and commas and bad syntax and properly structured sentences. Also, please make sure you know how to write in academic English. So again, it's not going to be just a simple, yeah, I just totally hate that, or it's not as easy as it seems. Phrases like that are not appropriate in an academic scholarly piece of writing. Okay. And last but not least, so really quick, look at how I write. That is scholarly writing, okay? So use as an example. Then lastly is your discussion. First of all, you guys need to use evidence. So, APA citation, you're going to need evidence to support what you write back. Do not just write, oh, that was a really great post, blah, blah, blah. You need to take the discussion further. So are you going to ask questions? Are you going to disagree and maybe bring up argument points? Are you going to motivate the group discussion by presenting a new topic within what you read from your colleagues? And you have to do this 2 times, and there's going to be some APA citations because you need to use references, scholarly references. So somebody talks about how EMR creates better continuity of care because you have access to other documents outside of the doctor's office. You could bring up how this also decreases costs and explain how the costs are decreased, used stuff in the evidence. People are not repeating labs. There's less meta errors that way. People aren't being referred numerous times to the same specialist. So make sure you keep that in mind. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and email me, but please use the Writing Center, okay? And if you aren't doing well in writing, I will mandate that you go to the Writing Center before your next assignment. So, and that's actually just really helpful. It just motivates you to go and do it. And if you have trouble with APA, they will help you with that as well. So be careful. Do not use suggested citation from articles because that is not in the APA handbook. And that is not an APA. It's usually in a different reference type. So don't do that either. Be really, really careful about how you cite websites. Most people do it incorrectly. So make sure you look it up. I'm going to tell you now that Purdue OWL is not as specific as the book, and I use the book, and it is the recommended reading for you to have. So if you don't have it now, I think I've mentioned it 3 times during this lecture, get the book. All right. Good luck, you guys. Email me if you have questions.